गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। बोलो भगवान रमण महर्षि की जय, अरुणाचलेश्वर भगवान की जय। We are here at Tiruvannamalai. In the background, if you can see, but I don't know, in the video they can see, but it's a bit cloudy, but you can see the Arunachala mountain where Ramana Maharshi did his tapasya. Ramana Maharshi, as you all know, at his young age was very inquisitive, and these things happen. Inquisitiveness is there in every one of us, but what direction that inquisitiveness takes, that's God's grace. Some become inquisitive about food, some become inquisitive about opposite sex, some become inquisitive about some business or becoming rich or ways to be becoming powerful. But that particular day, when Ramana Maharshi was sitting in his bedroom, looking out of his window like all of us as kids did, watching the traffic, he saw the traffic in the midst of the traffic, he saw a dead body passing. That was what he saw. And everyone was saying, Ram Naam Satya Hai, Ram Naam Satya Hai, Ram Naam Satya Hai. Ram is the only truth. I was wondering, what is this? Dead body lying on they were carrying it on their, on the 4 people carrying it on their shoulders. And as he was saying, what does dead mean? And God's grace came upon him. And he immediately lied down on his bed and practiced dead. He practiced being dead. And when mind is uncluttered, when mind is not full of ideas, mind has not read any books, mind has got no idea what death is, mind has got the world hasn't entered and corrupted the mind yet. He was only young, 13, 14 years old. He just crossed his puberty. And in that young, fertile mind, the God's grace came and he played dead and had an out-of-body experience. Many people get out-of-body experience. I don't know if you have had, any one of you. It requires a very uncluttered mind. It requires a very focused mind. It requires a very courageous mind. It requires a very faithful mind. It requires a very fearless mind. All these qualities, when come together, then something like this may happen. And he had this out-of-body experience, and thereafter he was a changed person, because he could see his body lying down in the bed. See? And he said, if I am not the body, then who am I? Question, no? Who am I? If I am not the body, then who am I? And that caught his imagination. Like today, you all came with faith. We are looking forward to Girivalam. And because you have faith in Ramana Maharishi, you feel, you have faith that you are in the presence of divinity, in the presence of Arunachala hill. So, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Aruna Shiva. And continuously 3 hours, 3.5 hours you are chanting. Little bit here and there, 1 or 2 coffees. But otherwise, in general, when have you chanted Arunachala Shiva for continuously 3.5 hours with only 3-4 breaks? When in your life? It's grace. It's not your doing. It's grace. Because left alone, we'll only gossip. So today, for a change, we gossiped Arunachala Shiva by God's grace. And something similar happened to Ramana Maharishi, where he started this question: if I am not this body, I am looking at my body lying in the bed, dead, and I am other than it, then who am I? And suddenly, whatever his journey was, what did I tell you? Faith and fearlessness. He just left the home. All that story is there, you can read it. And he came straight here to Arunachaleshwar Mandir, and there he was sitting outside, and the children used to trouble him because he was only 13-14 years old. He was sitting in meditation, very famished, hardly eating. If whatever people give, he used to eat, or Panditji used to give, he used to eat. And then if you go there, you will find on the right hand side there is a small room which is locked. There is a small room underneath. So he started meditating there to avoid the disturbing children, because children, we are very mean as children. We take the mickey out of anyone who's trying to do something extraordinary, out of the ordinary, I should say. And he sat there, and there also he felt from the grill they used to trouble him. So eventually Ramana Maharishi, as a young 16-17-year-old, he decided that this is not the place for him, it's too much disturbance, and he came to the Arunachala mountain, and there first he meditated in the lower cave, then he moved to the higher cave, or the other way around, whichever way, and 18 years he was there till he was discovered by Ganapati Muni. And Ganapati Muni was a great scholar, well versed in all the Shastras, and he was looking, and one day, knowing that Arunachala is the Dakshin Kailash, he was just wandering in the hills. You will still find many people wandering there. Now it has become a bit, because it is organized now, but if you go higher up, some people are still wandering. And they say many rishis and munis are in their subtle bodies living on the mountain. So he was wandering, and he found in this cave this young boy. That time he was 18, 19, 20 something, maybe more, I don't know. 18 years he had already meditated, so it must be more, maybe in his 30s, late 20s, 30s. So he found him, and he asked him some questions. Ramana Maharishi answered in one line. Actually, initially he couldn't even open the mouth because he had not spoken for so many years. But Ganapati Muni, being in his presence, found great peace. When family people, all the time they are thinking about brother, sister, mother, grandparents, this, that, everything. Business person, by default, is thinking about money, how to make more money. Similarly, Ganapati Muni was a Shastri. He had studied all the scriptures. By default, his mind is going on this mantra, that mantra, this mantra. This shloka, this, I know this is Vedanta, this is Kashmir, this is this is that, this is this. Continuously going on. See? And when he came in the presence of Ramana Maharishi, who was much younger than him, being in his presence, his mind quietened. And he experienced great peace. Great peace. Yesterday at Sai Baba Puttaparthi, I don't know, some of you saw me talking to one Mahatma? Yes. So Raj was there for some time. Yes. But while we were talking, he is a disciple of Swami, of Shivananda Ashram. Swami Shivananda's disciple, what was the next name? He got initiated there. And he was saying, I did this, I did that. So he said, do you know Pilot Baba? I said, I have met him. He said, I only blessed him. I said, very good if you blessed him. I touched his feet. Please bless me also. See how the whole thing goes. I blessed him. Then, Puttaparthi, Sai Baba asked me to take lectures here. I said, okay, very good. Again I touched his feet. मेरे को क्या जाता है? And he says, oh, Ashirvad, Ashirvadam. And after, then Raj went away. I came back home at 10 o'clock. He didn't leave me. And he comes and says, I think you are a real Mahatma. I said, the beauty is in your eyes, I am no one. So, after speaking that I did this to this Mahatma, I did that to this Mahatma, Sai Baba gave me the opportunity to take lectures here, and afterwards discussing about scriptures here, there, then he says, what do you think about Advaita, and what do you think about the world? What do you talk about sadhana? Is it nothing or is it something? I said, if everyone has blessed you, then you should know the answer. I am also waiting for your answer. And now he says, I am confused. After all this, after thinking, जैसे हमारी माता बोलती है ना, my brother. तो वैसे वो बोलता है, my knowledge, my guru, my Sai Baba, I gave this blessing to this, I gave blessing to this. Now he says, I am confused. So please give me, what is your opinion about it? I said, I don't have any opinion. You want to ask something, you ask, but don't ask me opinion. So what is your understanding, you tell me. He says, I have studied Vedanta, I have studied, Aurobindo Ashram, I have studied Osho, and I get confused, which one should I follow? So he says, is the world real? Or is the one reality real? And how should we do the sadhana? And if we do the sadhana, is there next life or not for us? I said, sir, you are elder than me. He speaks English also.
Alert from Google, password required.
He is very, very well versed in English also. I said, sir, you are elder to me. You should know all this. Or are you testing me? He said, no. And he genuinely was... the mind was running in this, that. And at that time, whether he was testing or not testing, I don't know. But I just, I said, if you are asking me, therefore I am saying. Otherwise I don't have to say anything. And I am not telling you what scriptures may be saying, scriptures may not be saying. Masters may be saying, masters may not be saying. But I am telling you from my experience. He says, tell, sir, tell. I said, wherever you focus in your sadhana, that becomes your reality. So if you focus on the body, then body will be the reality and you will be only lost in relations. If breath is the focus, you will focus only on pranayam and your health will be very good, and you will be focused that when I die, when this body dies, I must not, my last breath should not go from my anus, not should go from my genitals, it should not go from my mouth, it should not go from my nose. Like Paramahamsa Yogananda, he made the breath go from here. Understand? If your focus is on the mind, and all this is, rebirth is guaranteed. If your attention is on the mind, then your focus is that with the last breath, the name of the Lord is on your lips or in your mind. Rebirth is guaranteed. He says, what about God? Suddenly he says, what about God? I said, Brahmaji is locked in position. He cannot leave the position. He has to keep creating. So he is not realized. I said, I am not saying he is realized or not realized, but he is locked in position. Every cycle of creation, Brahmaji has to take birth. So rebirth for him also. What about Vishnu? I said, same. Oh, so he's also not realized. I said, you answer the question. In every cycle of creation, is there Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh? Yes. So every morning when you wake up, is there waking dream and deep sleep? Yes. So at totality level, there is Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. So they are coming again and again. Every time the Brahmaji sleeps, all the three go back to sleep. And again they come back. Oh, so you mean to say they are? I said, you come to the conclusion, don't ask me. I am putting data in front of you. So if you focus on Brahmaji, if you focus on mind, if you focus on Lord, then yes, you can merge in the Lord. You may become total as they are. They have that big vision, total vision, but rebirth is there. What about Ishvara? I said, yes, Ishvara is possible, but then Ishvara has got no job. He has got no mind. Ishvara has got no mind. Brahmaji has a mind because he has to create. Vishnu has a mind in the sense that he has to maintain. We say that, no, in the scriptures. Shivji has a mind because he has to do constructive destruction. But Ishvara has no mind. Whether you take Ishvara as Paramashiva or you take Ishvara as Mahavishnu, whichever way you take. Narayana. Yesterday we went to the Narayana, no, that is. So they have got no mind. Why? They are everything. Purusha Prakriti. So wherever you, be very careful where you focus. So what do you believe? Is there one or is there many? I said both and nothing. Both and nothing. If you think from relative standpoint, there is both. From absolute standpoint, the absolute doesn't say I am. There is no language. Language is only possible where there is duality. From absolute standpoint, there is no duality. And therefore, Ramana Maharshi not propagated, but maintained silence. Because there is nothing to talk about. He was always established in the ultimate absolute reality. And sometimes, intuitively, someone will ask something or he felt like saying something, one word, one line. In the younger days, he even answered questions. You have read the book Talks with Ramana Maharshi. If you want, you can buy it here from the bookshop. There are many books by him. So he had conversations, and over the years, whatever the conversations were there, they were noted down. But majority of the time, he spent in silence. Nothing to talk about. And people came in his presence. People came in his presence and found that there, as you experienced this morning, when you went to the Samadhi of Ramana Maharshi, for half an hour we were there. But in that half an hour, what deep silence pulls you in? Mind automatically becomes quiet. And if someone was feeling a bit unsettled, just expose yourself for, you got 2 days here, expose yourself more. Within another session, your mind will settle down. That is the power. Just like when you go close to heat, you will feel warm. If you go towards the ice, you will feel cold, isn't it? Exactly the same way. When you come to Ramana Maharshi, you will feel calm. There's no choice. There's no choice. It is natural. Without trying. And that is the greatness of this place. The Arunachala and Sri Ramana Maharshi. And when Ganapati Muni then, when he met and experienced this bliss of silence, of this conscious silence, he wanted to, oh, I found my Guru, I found my teacher. And thereafter, he started introducing people to Ramana Maharshi. Till Ramana Maharshi did not come down from the caves to where his Samadhi is now, or his rooms are. He had not studied any scriptures. He had not studied any language. I think he was Keralite or Tamil, I don't know. But after realization, he studied Sanskrit. After realization, he studied scriptures. After realization, he wrote compositions like Upadesh Sar and something you bought now yesterday. So that one. After realization, he composed Sri Ramana Gita and many other texts like that he composed. The less we clutter our mind with information, the better it is. But that does not mean to say, no, I don't want to attend satsangs because it's too much words, too much understanding. So what will you fill your mind with? अच्छा साड़ी कहाँ खरीदनी है? Blouse कहाँ बनाना है? So you are ready to clutter your mind with shopping, but you don't want to clutter your mind with scriptures. So better leave the sari and blouses and come to the scriptures. So better program your mind with the scriptures than the worldly objects. The more your mind goes after the worldly objects, the more confused it will be. Rule is what? Dhyayate vishayan pumsan sangaste shupajayate. The more you think about the world, you will desire the world. Whatever it will. In the shops, in the bus, she is saying, what jewelry shop. See? So you look, you desire. And immediately next question. Swamiji, are we stopping in Coimbatore? We have to go to a jewelry shop. I am not telling who. Okay. See, what is the rule? Dhyayato vishayan pumsan. Whoever puts his attention on anything in this world, you start desiring that. See? Desire leads to, there two things can happen when you desire. Either your desire is fulfilled or your desire is not fulfilled. If your desire is not fulfilled, you will be angry. Whoever is becoming an obstacle. So if I am not allowing her to stop in Coimbatore, she will get angry. Those days are gone now. She used to be like that. But second option, if desire is satisfied, it leads to greed. You want more desires to be fulfilled. And greed has got no end. And we don't realize this, but we are in that cycle. One after the other, one after the other, one after the other. Pilgrimage is also like this. One temple, next temple. Oh, my God. One, next one. Now where we are going? Oh, there. So maintain equanimity. Allow life to unfold, but maintain equanimity. That life has brought us this opportunity, okay, take in the energy, remain equanimous, remain a witness, and allow life to be lived through this body. You are not living life. Life is getting lived through your body. You are the observer of life. You are not life. Life is experienced in the mind. You are not the mind. You are the Atma, self. Self neither comes nor goes. Self is neither born nor dies. Mind comes and goes, including Brahmaji's mind. Brahmaji also, he comes and goes. All gods come and go. So put your attention wisely. And that is why we need scriptures. And we were, so whenever we put attention on something, we desire. If we satisfy the desire, if we don't satisfy the desire, there is anger. If we satisfy the desire, there is greed. And greed has got no end. And then you will go do all unwanted things to satisfy desire. And then get angry. Whoever is troubling from you to satisfy your desires. It leads to anger. Both ways. If greed is not satisfied, it leads to anger. Desire not satisfied leads to anger. Anger leads to what? This is chapter 2 Bhagavad Gita. Anger leads to loss of memory. Thank you. She knows. Still she goes after gold. Loss of memory. It leads to delusion. Delusion leads to loss of memory. Loss of memory leads to lack of discrimination. We forget that last time also we got angry. Last time also we lost the plot. Last time also we ran after the world. Last time also we bought all these clothes and then gave it to Salvation Army. How many clothes you bought last few trips? How many clothes do you wear actually? See? And how many clothes that you buy for your children, they are appreciated by your children? You say, oh, what, is this something, you wear these things? Yuck. Leave it. Buy one or two things for yourself and that's it. Lack of discrimination. Discrimination is we forget that we are the witness. We forget we are the Atma. We forget we are the constant one. And where we forget to discriminate in life, that is our fall. It leads to restlessness, it leads to agitation, it leads to depression, and worst case scenario, suicide. This modern science has not worked out yet. They teach psychology, but they have not. This is the ladder of fall, according to our Bhagavad Gita. See? And so we are in Kathopanishad, where the young boy Nachiket, he is face to face with the Lord of Death. His father said, and see, the young boy, just because it's been 2 weeks now since we have had a satsang, so the father was giving dakshina. It was great, important event in the life of any person who, whatever he has amassed in his life, is able to do. He used to give it away to everyone during in his life, because he knows I can make it again. Or he decides that it's time for me to take go into Vanaprastha. Vanaprastha stage, you know, you are all in sannyas stage, but you haven't even practiced Vanaprastha. Vanaprastha stage is once your children are 21 plus, you leave them alone. Husband and wife start living as brother and sister. Husband and wife start living independently. And then do what? Not worry about children. Then what? Worry about God. That is Vanaprastha. Vana means forest. So you become devoid of all needs. You become, not needs, desires. You start withdrawing slowly. And the first step in that is non-interference in the life of kids. World I have already explained. No shopping, no saris. But not in the family also. Then what is your family now in Vanaprastha? You are training your mind. You are training your mind to be to know that the only family it has is the Lord. That is Vanaprastha, which leads to sannyas. And Nachiketa's father was giving dakshina, and in those days the wealth was cows. And he was giving away the cows. And the son, Nachiket, he saw, oh, dad is doing very great job, but he's doing one mistake. What? He's giving all old cows. Old cows with gold and silver horns studded. So the Brahmin who's getting the cow has to spend more money taking care of the cow. And he's keeping the young, healthy cows for his son. So he says, Dad, see the culture. He doesn't say, Dad, you are doing something wrong. Like I do the mistake, I pull your leg and tease you. And he didn't say that. He said, Dad, whom will you give me? They say, get away, man, I'm doing such a big job is going on. There's a queue standing in front. He again went and pulled the dad's lungi. Dad, whom will you give me? After that. Third time he heard, father, got angry. Go, I give you to death. The son said, what dad said? First he thought, dad has told me to go to death. If dad has said something, because dad was his teacher also. He was his Veda teacher also. He was his guru also. So he says, if dad has told me to go to death, then what does dad want to accomplish by me going to death? And if dad has told me to go to death, he must know that I know the way to go to death. And he finds a way that you have to discover. That way is not told, that you have to discover. And he discovers. And he goes to the death. Like Ramana Maharishi went to death. And he stays there 3 nights and 3 days. Because Lord of Death was not there. He had gone for an errand. When he comes back, the gatekeeper say, there is this young Brahmin boy sitting outside. He said, what? 3 days? You didn't bring him? No, he said he is come to meet you. Oh, come in, come in. Immediately he called him. He washed his feet and everything and said, please, I'm very sorry. I feel obliged to give you 3 boons because I made you wait for 3 days and 3 nights. What will you ask in the first boon? He says, no, you don't have to do all this, but if you are saying so, I'll ask. Young boy, he's face to face with death. First boon, he says, by your blessings, when you send me back to my father, by your blessings, when you send me back to my father must recognize me as I had left him. Because one moment in Yamlok, 10,000, 20,000 years have gone down here on the earth. So his father would be gone by that time. He says, by your blessings, when I go back, my father does not go to hell, my father does not, is not miserable, he is not crying, and he finds me as I left him. What a wonderful boon. See? And in this way, then he asks the second boon, and in that the Lord of Death, Yamraj, he says, take this, take that, take that. He says, I don't want anything. And when the Lord sees that the young Nachiket is so steadfast on not wanting anything, in this from the world, he becomes, and he repeats. He gives him some knowledge and he repeats everything ditto. And which teacher will not be happy when the student is of that caliber? He becomes so happy that he has found this young 8-year-old boy who is able to repeat the knowledge, not just because he can repeat word to word, but with understanding. And he says, I gave you 3 months, I give you 1 extra. And that time, in the second boon, the teacher gave him the knowledge of Vaishwanara. Knowledge of Vaishwanara Agni. Agni is fire, we are in the Agni Peeth. And what is Vaishwanara? Vaishwanara is, the waking is here, it is called Vishwa, and the total energy, at the totality level is Vaishwanara or the Virat. So, how you come to that all-encompassing principle, even still at the world level, how you come to the all-encompassing principle where everything is included, everything is inclusive. And that science which he had communicated to Nachiket repeats it, and Yamaraj says, from today onwards, this knowledge will not be called as Vaishwanara Agni, it will be called Nachiket Agni. So it is called Vaishwanara Agni also, and it is another name. What a great thing! What a great thing! Now he says, please ask third boon. Now the third thing he has given, that was the extra boon he has given. He has given him the name. So he first was, what was the first boon? He asked, I should go back to my father as I left him, and he should not be worried while I am away from him. That his mind is at peace. Second, he got the knowledge of Vaishwanara Agni. Third boon, which was extra boon, Yamaraj called the Vaishwanara Agni as Nachiket Agni. Now he says, and there's few things are going on, and then he says, now you tell me, and I think we are still in that one, but I'll tell you what is the last boon which comes in the next. So last boon is, he has now asked the final one. He says, I want to know that by knowing which nothing needs to be known. And how does he rephrase this? He says, some people say there is soul when person dies, and some people say there is no soul. So what is the truth? And that is the discussion that we are still going on at this moment. And here in the third, so there are two parts to Kathopanishad. First part has 3 chapters, second part has another 3 chapters. In the first part, the 3rd chapter we are doing, and in that we are in the 14th verse, and it's a very famous verse which goes, Uttishtata jagrata prapya varani bodhata kshurasya dhara nishita duratyaya durgam pathastat kavayo vadanti. Uttishtata jagrata. Uttishtasa, wake up. Arise. Uttishta is arise. Arise to what? Every morning you arise. What do you arise to? What we have to shop. We arise to, is breakfast included in the room or not? That is the first question. Here he says, arise to your own truth. Jagrata, wake up to your own truth. What are we waking up to? We are waking up to the world, isn't it? Every day. We are waking up to the space, air, fire, water. Oh, what a beautiful day. Oh, we are in Ramanashram. Oh, look at the Arunachala. Oh, we have to do Girivalam. This is world. But did we, while waking up, did we wake up to our own self? Did we think even once that all that is okay, but at this very moment, are we aware of our own self? Are you awake? Jagrat means awake. Are you awake to your own self? Are you awake to the words? Are you awake to the Upanishad? Are you awake to the Arunachala at the back? Are you awake to your body pains? Are you awake to your comforts? Comfortable position that you are having right now. And after some time, something will, again you will change. So are you aware of that? Are you awake to that? Or are you awake to the conscious principle that you are? The Atma that you are. So here it says, arise, awake. Don't live a life of laziness. Don't live a life of default settings. What is life of default setting? At home I always have oats, and I didn't get oats for last 2 weeks. This is default setting. We have to, whatever this moment demands, what does this moment demand? Does this moment demand your attention to the world? Or does this moment demand discrimination? Your attention is on the self. Are you being the witness? Or are you being connected to the world? Which one you are? So here the Lord of Death, Yamaraj, is saying, Uttishtata Jagrata prapya varan, here it is, prapya varan nibodhata, and gain that and realize that which the realized masters have realized, the wise ones have realized. Varan nibodhata. Varan means those wise ones. Nibodhata means they have come to ascertain, they have come to realize, they have come to establish themselves. To that what they have realized, you wake up, you arise, wake up to that. Enough of living in this cyclical life. What is this cyclical life? Waking, dream, deep sleep. Waking, dream, deep sleep. Waking, dream, deep sleep. When I tell you, you remember waking, dream, dream. Most of the time, your cyclical life is daughter, husband, parents, daughter, children, parents, husband, parents, children, husband. This is your cyclical life. And if you have noticed, sometimes in the trip also, our cyclical life is, last trip was we went there. Before that we went there. Where are we? We don't know where we are. Swami, where did we go last week? What was that place called? What was that place? Happy Humpy. Now I remember. We are not living with awareness. We are living in a default setting. Get out of it. And to warn us, he says, Kshurasya dhara nishita duratyaya. This path, where the varan nibodhata, where these what prapya varan, the wise men, what they have attained, the self, like our Raman Maharishi, this path is not so easy. It is like a sharp knife, sharp sword. At every moment you can be cut. Cut means what? You can fall. Like the snake of the ladder, snake and ladder, if you make the wrong dice, you got the snake waiting for you to take you back to zero. One wrong attention, you miss the plot. So it requires, today you must have noticed this, because it's so fresh, so I can, and you will understand also. While we were walking, I purposely was chanting loudly, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. Remember? How many times you were chanting and suddenly your mind was distracted by something? Many times it happened, isn't it? And then sometimes you came back to Arunachala Shiva by yourself. Sometimes you needed a scolding. Sometimes, after some time, if there was no, automatically you came, because the core group was still chanting. And I was chanting the loudest for some time. See, this is called Kshurasya dhara. Without knowing, you have slipped away. Without knowing. And this is not just slipping away from mantra. We slip away into being a wife. We slip away being right now. Are you a wife? No. You are a pilgrim. So be a pilgrim. Revel in the divine. But we slip away into being a mother. We slip away into being a daughter. We slip away into Australia. We slip away into our memories. Kshurasya dhara. Don't slip, because if you slip, opportunity lost. You have to maintain great vigilance and great alertness. And if you do it, remember what did I say? You chant loudly. Don't chant in your mind. So when you are chanting loudly, you will come back to the loud chanting. But if you do it in your mind, my mind is going on and another window, like in computer now, right now in front of me, the commentary is there and the Sanskrit is there. So two options, the pop-ups are there. In our mind, 100 pop-ups are there. See, Kshurasya dhara nishita duratyaya. So, just as, what does it say here? So, the wise people, Durgam patas tat kavayo vadanti. Kavayo, kavayaha, vadanti. Kavayaha means wise people. And these, what do they say? Vadanti, they say. What do they say? They say this path is not for the faint-hearted. Durgam, it is full of obstacles. Durgam, it is not Durg means not Durga Devi. Durgam means difficult. Lot of obstacles, lot of challenges, lot of pitfalls along the way. And you experienced it today. How many times your mind went into something instead of being on Arunachala, Shiva, Arunachala. This is just one short example. So we have to exercise great alertness if we want to be successful on this path, and therefore the teacher is telling Nachiket, arise, awake, and attain to that which the great wise people have attained in their life, which is the self. No doubt the path is full of difficult, the path, and don't think that this path is going to be just when I feel like many people say, when we say at the last thought in your life, when the body dies, you have to think of God. And people say, oh, now I will enjoy, when I am dying, that time I will remember. It doesn't happen like that. It doesn't happen like that. It requires continuous alertness. And even after continuous alertness, as we have already told in one of our lectures, Bharat Maharaj, a great king, 10,000 years he meditated, he did the japa of Om Vishnave Namah or Om Vishnave Namah. And then he saw one deer, female deer crossing a river and giving birth. And the baby fawn was flowing into the river, being swept by the river. And he opened his eyes because he heard the scream or the roar of the lion. And that roar of the lion, the female deer became afraid and she jumped the river, and while in full flight, out of the fear, the baby was born and fell in the river. And Bharat Maharaj, after 10,000 years of japa, he says, he was just watching. He says, why did God make me open my eyes? I think God wanted me to save the fawn. That's why he made me open my eyes. So, put it on God. He went, got the deer, came. Now he forgot his japa. He started getting, first he got one cow, then he used to, because no mother, so he used to feed the baby with the milk, cow milk. Then after that, as the baby grew, he used to get fresh top part of the grass, soft one, and with his hand he used to feed the baby. And the baby also, no father, no mother, only he is the. So while he is doing Om Vishnave Namaha, and one hand is going Om Vishnave Namaha, the baby deer, his head is on his lap. And one day while doing this, Om Vishnave Namaha, Om Vishnave Namaha, tang, he left the body. What was he thinking? Mouth was chanting the mantra after 10,000 years, but attention was on the deer. So next birth he is born as deer. But which deer? Deer in a ashram. So from childhood that deer is exposed to Vedic mantras, satsang, etc. All the cats and dogs in the ashram are like that only. Peacocks, squirrels. And he realized, because he had done so much sadhana, he remembered that the mistake that he had committed in the past life of thinking about the deer. So this time he decided not to make that mistake. And while in the deer body, he continued his sadhana. And next life, he was born as Jada Bharat. Born realized. So these stories are not just for entertainment. These stories are giving some principle so that we learn that where we are going wrong and we correct our approach to life. See? So same thing here, this particular verse उत्तिष्ठ जाग्रत प्राप्य वरान् निबोधत क्षुरस्य धारा निशिता दुरत्यया दुर्गम पदस्तत्कवयो वदन्ति. Here I have explained this whole Shankar Bhashya in the last class. What's the time now? One moment. Sorry. Video mein my this much only will come. Couldn't see what is written there. Only my nose and moustache. So here, when the teacher is saying these words, he is prompting us, he is tickling us. Hey, seeker, expand your vision. Expand your vision. See, just as water alone becomes the ocean, supports the ocean, not becomes the ocean, or water alone supports the ocean or manifests as the ocean, water alone manifests as the wave, water alone manifests as the ice. Right? Similarly, consciousness that is alone is expressing through our intellect or manifesting as our intellect, because you cannot say intellect and consciousness are separate. Consciousness alone is manifesting as intellect. Consciousness alone is manifesting as the mind. Consciousness alone is manifesting as the five senses. Consciousness alone is manifesting as the whole world. And towards this, if you now the previous verses, that was the sadhana that was given, that the five senses and the whole, what is world made up of? What is world made up of? Space, air, fire, water, earth. What are your five senses made up of? Seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, tasting. Ears, space, eyes, skin, air, eyes, fire or sun, the sun and moon, fire element. Then water, tongue, and earth, nose. So that one reality, that one mind alone at one place is expressing as the five senses and at the same time expressing as the whole world and playing with itself. Eyes are playing with the forms and colors, nose is playing with the smell of the earth, the ears are playing with the sound. But actually it is one mind only. See, so when you start thinking like this, you will get automatically your individuality will dissolve. So there the lay prakriya was given in the previous verses, that greater than the five senses is the five elements, the sense objects. Greater than the sense objects, because you have only five sense objects or so many. Greater than both of them is the mind. Greater than the mind is the intellect. Greater than the intellect is the total intellect. Greater than the total intellect is the unmanifest Shakti, the unmanifest reality, potentiality or Avyakta Shakti. And greater than that is the Purusha principle. So when these exercises are not given to Swamiji, that was very nice. It is given so that we come to this conclusion in ourselves that I alone am expressing this consciousness, that I am alone is expressing or manifesting as the concepts and ideas, is manifesting as the emotions in the mind, as the thoughts in the mind, is manifesting as the five senses, is manifesting as the whole world. And in the bus also I was telling you, or somewhere we were discussing, some of us, mental block. That just as the consciousness alone is just as the consciousness alone is manifesting as intellect, mind, senses and the world, it is not very difficult to come to this conclusion that all the life, all the intellects, all the minds, all the past and future, all the world in the dream is manifesting, is the manifestation of the mind alone, isn't it? Has it come from outside? No. The mind alone has become everything. But what is mind? Someone said thoughts. Someone said consciousness. Huh? Bolo, you're close. Bolo.
No consciousness, thoughts with no consciousness, or
You're close. I'll tell you what you want to say. Thought, consciousness with thoughts is equal to mind. Mind without thoughts is consciousness. That's what you wanted to say? See? So mind is not only thoughts. You have to, that was at the beginning level we explained that way. But now we are in Upanishad. So Upanishad, what is in this particular sadhana that is being given by Lord Death to Nachiket, everything is one. We are not creating division. So do you feel you are not right hand, you are only the left hand? Do you feel? You don't feel? Do you feel you are only the eyes and you are not the ears? Do you feel that you are expressing through the whole body? Do you feel? Yes. Do you feel body is separate to you, or you are the body right now? Isn't it? We are the body at this moment. So Lord of Death, he wants to expand our consciousness. When we think about the world, we contract our consciousness. When we think about the mind, we little bit expand our consciousness. When we contemplate on the intellect, new concepts, new ideas like this, our consciousness gets expanded even further. When we contemplate on the total consciousness, which is Brahmaji or the Vaishwanara or whatever, the total person, it gets even more with respect to the world. That everything is me alone, just like in dream. That when we wake up, we know the dream was only in the mind. Everything was me only in the dream. Now question is, in waking, how everything is me alone, the consciousness alone. This knack has to be developed. And this knack will not happen as long as we are fixated on being an individual. So you have to start thinking large, in total. What is the total? The 5 elements, just one example I gave you, I will repeat it. 5 elements have gone into making the 5 senses, 5 elements have gone into making the whole world, isn't it? So what is the common denominator? 5 elements. Where are the 5 elements? What is the source of the 5 elements? Mind. So we have come back one step. So first we saw the world and the senses was only 5 elements. 5 elements are present only in the mind. Mind cannot exist without intellect, because in intellect the I is there. Now, till here you can do your practice. I want to control. I want to be me. Some of us do. Jnanesh, our Ramana Maharishi also said, who am I? But once you come to the I, what next? Now that I has to expand to include or to be the total I. And after total I, once you recognize that everything is the self alone, then you will not desire anything in this world, and you will not run away from anything in this world. You understand? Then it leads to the avyakta, which is silence. Even more silence. That is the silence which Ramana Maharishi was. So just now, as Amma said, consciousness without thoughts, mind without thoughts is consciousness. So that is that silence we were talking about. So here Yamaraj is saying, wake up to that consciousness, arise to that consciousness. Don't take it for granted that you are consciousness. You have to know it to the exclusion of everything else and inclusion, because exclusion, inclusion are only happening in the mind. They are only concepts. You are not a concept. Is self a concept? Is self a concept? Self is not a concept. Self is you, and we have to know it without a thought. And that possibility, that window of opportunity is available to us if we sit in the presence of Ramana Maharshi. So tonight, this evening, tomorrow evening, whatever opportunity you get, please make yourself available to the Ramana Maharshi Samadhi. It will automatically happen. So many people have realized just by being in the presence of Samadhi. They have not met Swami, Ramana Maharshi, but being there, their lives have totally transformed. They have fallen back into themselves. They have become this verse. Now when we say, Uttishta Jagrata Prapya Varan Nibodhata, many people have come here, meditated, and they have arisen to their own consciousness. They have awakened to their own consciousness, which the realized masters talk about or have come to realize. So all the blessings and all the best to all of us, that it happens to us. We cannot bring it about. It has to happen by grace. But we have to be available to the grace. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Just sit quietly for some time.